I have always believed that the absolute best way to protect my checked suitcase was to just politely ask the check-in agent for one of those bright red, fragile tags. It tells the baggage handlers to be gentle with my things, right?
That is incredibly common, and it is exactly what the airline industry wants you to think. But when you specifically ask for a fragile tag, you are actually walking directly into a legal trap. When the gate agent prints that special tag, they attach a hidden condition to your ticket called a limited liability release. You see, the airline is arguing that if an item is fragile enough to need a special warning, it was inherently unfit for the rigors of commercial air travel in the first place. By accepting that fragile tag, you are legally admitting that your bag or its contents are not suitably packed. The moment they put that sticker on your handle, they effectively strip away your federal damage protections. It is not a shield for your luggage. It is a shield for the airline's bank account. They rely on your misunderstanding of the word fragile to strip away their financial responsibility without you ever realizing what you just agreed to.
So by actively trying to protect my suitcase, I am giving the airline legal permission to smash my belongings with zero consequences? That is completely insane. But if I cannot use a fragile tag, what am I supposed to do if I am traveling with something valuable, like expensive camera gear or a designer suit?
That brings us to a massively underused federal provision that airlines absolutely hate talking about, known as excess valuation. Under Department of Transportation rules, airlines are required to allow you to declare a higher value for your checked baggage than their standard liability limits. When you walk up to the counter, instead of asking for a fragile sticker, you tell them you want to declare excess valuation. They will charge you a tiny fee, usually around $1 or $2, for every $100 of extra coverage you want to claim. But here is the real secret. The moment you pay that fee, your bag becomes a massive financial liability for the airline. They do not want to lose thousands of dollars because a ramp worker dropped your suitcase. Because they are now fully financially exposed, your bag suddenly gets treated like absolute royalty. It is a psychological trick backed by federal law.
Wait a minute. Why would I need to declare extra value? I thought if the airline loses my luggage, they are legally forced to just buy me everything that was inside it anyway. Do they not owe me for the full cost of replacing my stuff?
Yes and no. And this is where airlines get incredibly deceptive. If you are flying on a domestic flight entirely within the United States, the Department of Transportation mandates that airlines are liable for up to $3,800 per passenger. But the catch is in their domestic contract of carriage. Airlines legally write in massive exception lists. They will outright refuse to cover electronics, jewelry, cash, and camera equipment on domestic flights. However, if your flight crosses international borders, everything changes. Your bag is instantly protected by international law, specifically an absolute powerhouse treaty called the Montreal Convention. Under the Montreal Convention, airlines are strictly liable up to approximately $1,700, and they are legally forbidden from enforcing those domestic exception lists. If they lose your laptop on a flight to London, international law dictates they must pay for it, regardless of whatever their domestic website policy claims.
Okay, but what if I am flying internationally, and I book through one airline, but my itinerary has two different airlines on it? If my bag gets lost somewhere in the middle, they are just going to point fingers at each other. The first airline will say the second airline lost it, and the second will blame the first. How do I fight two massive corporations at once?
You never, ever fight both of them. You only fight one. And international aviation law tells you exactly which one it is. The airline industry has an internal treaty known as the International Air Transport Association Resolution 302. This rule establishes exactly who takes the blame so passengers do not get trapped in a corporate runaround. It is called the most significant carrier rule, or in basic terms, the last operating carrier. Federal and international regulations dictate that the final airline that delivers you to your destination is the one legally responsible for processing your lost luggage claim and paying you your compensation. It does not matter if the first airline forgot to put it on the plane. Do not let the final airline bounce you back to the starting carrier. Politely quote the resolution, stand your ground, and force the final airline to open the claim.
That definitely prevents the blame game. But since we are talking about international flights, I have a friend who lost a bag forever on a flight back to the United States because of a layover in Atlanta. The airline basically washed their hands of it and said it was a government issue. How is a lost bag a government problem?
Because your friend fell into the most brutal customs trap in American aviation. When you fly back into the United States from another country, you cannot just check your bag through to your final domestic destination and forget about it. United States Customs and Border Protection law requires all arriving passengers to personally claim their checked baggage at their very first port of entry into the country, physically walk it through customs, and recheck it for their connecting flight. The airlines will tag your bag all the way to your final city, which gives travelers a dangerous false sense of security. If you are tired from a 10-hour flight, land in Atlanta, and walk straight to your next gate without doing the bag drop, your luggage stays spinning on the initial carousel. Eventually, customs agents confiscate it. Because you abandon it in a federal customs zone, the airline is entirely stripped of liability. They owe you absolutely nothing.
That is terrifying, especially because gate announcements are always so hard to hear. If something goes wrong and my bag is massively delayed by days because of an airline error, I know I can get reimbursed for buying a toothbrush and some clothes. But am I seriously still forced to pay the $50 fee they charged me just to check the bag in the first place?
Absolutely not. And this is the final secret they hope you never realize. Most passengers are so relieved to finally get their delayed luggage back, or so focused on claiming reimbursement for emergency clothing, that they completely forget about the original checked bag fee. The Department of Transportation specifically mandates that if your bag is significantly delayed, the airline must refund the fee you paid to check it. They will try to hand you a useless digital travel voucher or offer frequent flyer miles to make you go away. Federal law requires them to refund you in original cash back to your credit card. You just have to explicitly demand a baggage fee refund under DOT regulations. Do not let them close the support ticket until that actual cash hits your bank account. The system is designed to wear you down, but knowing these specific federal rules is exactly how you beat them at their own game.